So the Generations Select line, which was something that we discussed a while back, is a line that exists, that kind of tries to exist outside of what the current generation stuff is. So right now, the current generation stuff being the War for Cybertron Siege stuff, and the ecology and the kind of molds and the kind of concept that's going on right now and the price point. The Select line is where, while that's going on, they'll take stuff from the previous kind of engineering and everything from Generations and make just new repaints and stuff like that. We've had that in the past already with the Red Swoop and the Ricochet, where during the power of the Primes and the beginning of Siege, we ended up having stuff like a repaint of Swoop and a repaint of Jazz's Ricochet. So now we're going to have more of that. And here is a really good one because it's actually using a super obscure color scheme. So it seems here, according to listings that are found from Midtown Comics, it seems that we're going to be getting a Transformers Generation Selects Combat Hero Megatron, but specifically a Combat Hero Megatron that's going to be based off of his unreleased Generation 2 colors. What that is that we had Combat Hero Megatron, which was the purple tank that said Megatron rules on his chest, and it had the pump action missile. And there was a plan to then do a repaint of that later on when Generation 2 was going to last into 1995 and hopefully into 1996. We all know what ended up coming out in 1996 instead, but if it would have continued, this is something that they would have gotten. So it was a very Arctic kind of camo Megatron. So now what they're going to be doing is they're going to be taking that Voyager Siege Megatron, which turns into a tank and everything, and give it that camo. Now, I'm kind of interested how they're going to do that, because while the Voyager Megatron does indeed turn into a tank, his alt mode is very much of that of Generation 1 Megatron, not of that of Generation 2 Megatron, which has the shoulder cannon and the general tank body Megatron that we're more familiar with, where the tank makes the majority of the chest and the back of the tank makes the legs. Very simple, used for both the large Megatron and the Combat Hero Megatron for Generation 2. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to go about this visually. Are they going to re-engineer it in a way that maybe somehow his shoulder cannon could clip onto his forearm cannon could clip onto his shoulder to emulate that look? What's going to happen with the sword? Is that going to be a factor into it too? Like, I'm kind of really curious how it's going to look, because I could imagine it and see it with some previous Tank Megatron toys that really had that visual. But with this one that really is Generation 1, it's not so much the case. Now, again, these Generation Selects have existed in other shapes or forms throughout the years. It was the one way you were able to get your Groove figure, pretty much, to complete your Defensor when Combiner Wars was a thing. And the way that you could get these, well, in this case, it's through Midtown Comics, but they're probably going to be through a whole bunch of different sources, whether it be Walgreens or Hasbro's toy shop online. So there's going to probably be some source of how to get this version. I know that, again, also when we had the Prime Wars Trilogy stuff, which was also like unique individual kind of stuff, that was done through Amazon. Yeah. So we don't know yet how this is going to go about, but all we know is if someone gets a case, it's going to have 24 of these in a case. So when I see stuff like that, that's usually stuff that if it is for retail is going to really be, safe with this. They'll buy one case and that's it. So this is probably going to be something that's more of an online purchase. And we'll definitely talk about it more when we learn more about this, but especially when we get photos of it. But right now, I'm just going to kind of just let you guys know what it's based on and its history.